I'm going to pull up so I can read it to everyone because, again, I don't want to make the assumption that anybody has seen all of this, has heard all of this.
You're talking about the Jordan Poole's dad?
Jordan Poole's dad.
I got the tweet right here.
So do I. Anthony Poole.
At apool98 on Twitter.
He's responding to the comments that Draymond Green made on the Patrick Beverley podcast, right?
I don't just hit people. Dialogue, of course, happens over time, and you usually ain't just triggered by something like that fast, to that degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a team. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody on my team triggering me, in an instant. We know stuff that you don't say amongst men. You know what I'm saying? We know things that you have to stand on.
Okay, things that you have to stand on. Well, here's Anthony Poole's response. I'm going to stand on this. That is some BS. JP was his guy, and he avoided me all last year. He's a soft A-B, and I'm standing on this. And he didn't apologize to me and my wife. So he lame, and me and him can meet anytime he wants.
Love the response.
You do?
Absolutely, I love it. Well, because he's going to stand on this. Because Draymond, I'm going to stand on this. Well, Jordan Poole's dad is going to stand on this. JP was his guy. And whether or not Draymond avoided him all last year or not, one thing is clear from what Anthony Poole said, he didn't apologize to me and my wife. And going into a press conference setting and saying, I apologize, is not, first of all, an apology, and second of all, it's not good enough. When you say the words, I'm sorry, that's an apology. When you say, I apologize, that's not an apology.
Well, okay, that's fine. That feels a little bit splitting hairs. Let me ask it this way. Does he have to go direct, face-to-face, in a case like this? He says into a microphone back at the beginning of the year, I know what this would feel like to my family if I were on the other side, and that's not a good feeling. So the embarrassment that his whole family is feeling, I apologize to his mom and his dad and his family. He did say that. That doesn't count?
No, does not count.
Why not?
Because if you're really going to feel that badly, you're going to go to his family and you're going to pull them aside and you're going to apologize. You're going to say, I'm sorry for what I did, because it is embarrassing. So you can't just give it lip service, in my opinion. That's not an apology. You and I have had a couple of instances where I've made mistakes. I've apologized to you, and I've said, I'm sorry, and I know what it means to apologize because I've made mistakes, and I'm proud of the fact that I know how to apologize for things.
Absolutely, but we also don't live in a world where anyone's going to hold a press conference for that.
Correct.
This is October of last year. What do y'all think?
The embarrassment that Jordan has to deal with, that this team has to deal with, that this organization has to deal with, but also Jordan's family. His family saw that video. His mother, his father saw that video. And quite frankly, if my mother saw that video, I know how my mother would feel. I know what her I know what her reaction would be, and I know what her next step would be. And so for that, I apologize to his mother and his father and, his family, his friends that care for him, because that is a sense of, or a level of embarrassment that they have to deal with too.
To me, I accept that part of what Draymond did.
Well, Anthony Poole does not accept that part.
Well, but that's up to Anthony.
Exactly.
That's up to Anthony.
I don't believe, in my opinion, that's not the apology that I would be looking for if I were Anthony Poole, especially if you're around the guy all year. Take 3 minutes, pull him aside face to face and say, you know what? I'm sorry. That's an apology.
You're not wrong.
That was lip service.
But it's lip service to even say it face to face. I know it's maybe another level, but it's not going to just obviously make it all okay if you look him in the eye and say it, because he's done that with Jordan, and Jordan didn't accept it either. So I look at this as, that is an apology. I apologize to his parents. But B, could Draymond have done a better job by pulling the whole family aside? Sure, I guess he could have. I don't know that they would have accepted it.
Sure.
But I also find the whole concept a little bit odd. For instance, You referenced yourself. Now, I want to make sure everyone knows, like, you never punched me. You've not done anything like this.
It's early. It's only 3:20.
We all have our things on these shows.
Of course.
Like any friends, like any coworkers. Anything that would have come up there, did I want you to call my mom?
Nope.
Why didn't you?
Because your mom didn't probably catch wind of the embarrassment. They weren't embarrassed by something that I did to you.
How do you know I haven't cried to them over the stress
over the
that
takes
you cause on a daily basis? What is the matter with you? I guess, right? Jordan Poole is 23.
Yes.
And he makes millions of dollars. He is a grown, bleeping professional.
But listen to what Draymond said in that. He said, I know what my mom, and I know his mom. We used to have his mom on a weekly, Mark. We paid her to come on the morning show, Jolo and Dibs, once a week. Mary Babers Green was on the payroll many, many years ago. So I know Mary a little bit. And when he says, I know what my mom would do, I imagine that's not write a firmly worded email to the perpetrator in this incident.
But why did you have her on every week?
Because we had insight.
Because she's outspoken and she's half a cup of crazy. So why are we... And
underwhelming as an interviewee, by the way.
Okay, fine. But she is incredibly outspoken. Hello, she's Draymond's mom.
Correct.
She raised this gentleman.
Hello.
Right? So...
She did not bring the same level of heat to the microphone that her son brings.
That's fine, but why are we using that now as our morality compass when we're doing an entire show about how we don't like the moral compass that Draymond has? My point in a general sense, I'm not saying he would have been wrong to go talk to somebody's parents, especially if you happen to walk by them in the family room every day. Like, yeah, hey, man, right? Like that was, gosh, I was completely out of line. Whatever. Sure, there's always classier ways to do everything. But the concept that when you mess up, with two adults in a room that you got to go call mom and dad? Call mom and dad. Okay, we got a problem. Yo, I'll solve it. We do this right here.
Thank you.
We'll do this right here. And we solve it. And you talk to one another. And if you need your guidance from your parents, great. But like people aren't going out of their way to go talk to everybody's parents when they do something wrong.
No, but in this case, when the video is leaked and it becomes public, in essence, that's a second punch, in my opinion. When the video is leaked and you see just exactly how knocked out Jordan Poole got by Draymond Green, and then Draymond speaks to how he knows his mom would feel, and so he speaks to how Jordan Poole's parents might feel.
And apologizes to them.
Right. I think that it would have been more authentic if he, A, actually went to them and said sorry, or B, didn't then subsequently go out and make light of the entire situation and clown Jordan Poole again, which is what prompted Anthony Poole to say, I stand on this, that is some BS. So in other words, your apology when he took to the microphone and said, I apologize to Jordan Poole's parents, you're not really sorry, bro. If you were really sorry about the pain that you caused Jordan Poole and his parents, you wouldn't then go on the Patrick Beverly podcast and drudge it up again 9 months later. You're not sorry.
He clearly is still justifying, and the Poole family was never having it anyway. Like,
well, according to Anthony Poole, he didn't apologize to me and my wife.
But he apologized profusely to Jordan, and Jordan never had it.
Well, we don't know how profusely he apologized to Jordan Poole.
I think we do. My gosh, there were press conferences involving 8 people.
We do know this.
What do we know?
Anthony Poole says he can meet me anytime he wants.
Great.
So come on, Draymond.
All right, tough
come
guys.
down to the pool.
Oh,
come knock on the Poole's door.
I love it when everyone gets tough.
Well, we'll see how tough Draymond is when
who cares?
Once you go at Anthony Poole,
who cares?
Tough guy.
And someone will punch someone, and then we'll all move on with our lives, and nothing will be solved. Like, that solves nothing. I know you disagree, but for instance...
Anthony Poole disagrees.
Yeah, Jock Peterson still plays baseball, and so does Tommy Pham.
Tommy's having a good year.
Yeah, they're all doing fine. Everybody moves on, and nothing got solved whatsoever. So I know what some of y'all think about this, but the idea that, I punched you, and now that took care of that, you did nothing. Punching someone else is, quite frankly, pointless and stupid. It does nothing. So it was dumb when Draymond did it, and it would be dumb if anybody did it back because it solves nothing.
That's your opinion.
It is. It really is. I've never seen a punch solve anything unless someone's being paid $100 million to box. Outside of that, what has it ever solved?
Well, when Mike Tyson hit Mitch Blood Green over the hood of a car, that solved something because Mitch was running his mouth. Yeah, and that's all we heard from Mitch Blood Green. That's for sure.
Great.
You better be careful.
Because Tyson's done great, hasn't he?
He's actually bounced back quite nicely from his incarceration.
Which was?
It was an incarceration sensation, Mark. Was that so hard?
You know what I wonder? I wonder if Anthony Poole is apologizing to Jordan right now.
For having
talking.
his back?
No. For going on social media, because every athlete I've ever known, when a family member hits social media, they call a meeting to say, don't do that. I'm telling you, I've never seen it work. Aisha Curry, all the way down the line. I've never seen the athlete like it. You think 23-year-old Jordan likes daddy coming to the rescue?
That's a good point. Probably not.
I especially when his clear point all year has been, shh, say nothing.
Yeah, let Draymond just keep taking shots at me.
Well,
I don't mind it, Dad.
But that's what Jordan's choice has been. Slate's was right in front of him.
Well, maybe this is his choice. Maybe he's like, Dad, would you do me a favor and would you come at him on social media? Because I can't do it.
Maybe. I'm just wondering aloud.
Yeah.
I've never seen an athlete like it.
I was trying to think of a time where an athlete's spouse or parent, took up for their kid.
And it went well.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Ja Morant's dad.
Let's go Ja's dad. Let's go Giselle.
Patrick Mahomes' wife. Who was it? Miko Grimes?
Oh, gosh.
She was a classic. She couldn't stop.
That blew up.
Right.
His career was never the same. Yeah. Sometimes.
Oh, that was T.O.'s manager.
Remember Chris Benson's wife? This is going way back. Remember Anna Benson?
Yes.
Don't be bigger than the player. It doesn't go well.
We could do a whole nother show on these.
I wonder. I don't know, but I wonder if Jordan, because that was clearly an emotional response.
If I'm Anthony Poole and I hear this podcast, I'm like, dude, 9 months ago, you knocked my son out. The team didn't punish you. My son didn't punish you. And now you're all but gloating and calling calling my son, not a punk, but I'm finally playing with adults and this and that. Dude, enough is enough.
I totally get it. I would feel the exact same way, but I wouldn't tweet. What, you know what I mean?
Well,
what does that do?
I wouldn't tweet either.
If I'm Jordan Poole, what have I clearly wanted all year?
For this to go away.
Thank you. What did Anthony Poole do?
He didn't do anything more than Draymond did. Draymond's the one who kept this thing going.
This is absolutely a bigger story with Anthony being a part of it. There's zero question.
Yeah, it's not much bigger. But
Draymond's comments were already going to be talked about.
Right.
But now we've got a full-blown back and forth.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
I'm not sitting by. Enough is enough of you taking shots at my son.
Yeah.
I support it.
But it's not even, I wonder if Jordan supports it.
That's a good question.
No question in my mind that he just created more sustainability to the story that Jordan wants to go away.
And as you go to the phones, I'm going to keep racking my brain over instances where spouses or parents, like the famous one is LeVar Ball.
LeVar Ball.
It's like, my God.
You can make the case that he made his boys some money.
Absolutely.
You could make that case for sure.
It also created additional headaches than that they maybe wouldn't have had otherwise.
And a holistic person would say it broke Lonzo's body down, all the stress.
Well, that's unfair.
I don't know. I'm not saying
but the draftability of Lonzo Ball became a question because of his father's influence.
Well, and he still went second overall.
Right.
And the family has way more name value than they would have based on their play, even though LaMelo is very, very good. We know the name LiAngelo, and he never even came close to the NBA. So Jello Ball has name value. That's because of LeVar.
I always forget his name.
LiAngelo.
He's like the Cooper Manning.
It's true.
Although Cooper's gone on to father the next big thing.
Who are you?
Exactly. Yeah, Cooper's doing fine.
Cooper's great.
Yeah, Cooper's
and
doing
he's
fine.
the oldest, not the middle. But yeah, let's go to the phones.
All right, let's do it. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Keith in the city. Hey, Keith, what are you doing? You're on with Willie and Dibby.
Hi. I think you touched on some of the things I was going to say, but I don't think what his dad says really matters much, because what Draymond did with Patrick Beverley was just walking back his apology and saying, look, I'm right. And I know that you think that punching somebody in a sports context is not a big deal, but Draymond's never done it in a game, and we don't know of any other. And it was a sucker punch. And if you did that, if Dibbs did that to Willard, or somebody did it on the street and they cracked their head, it's assault, and it's a felony.
Well, Keith, who said it wasn't a big deal? I don't think either of us have ever said that. It's completely a big deal. Yeah, it's different than doing it on the street. No question about that. But no, there's no. The hardest thing for me, like just being a radio host during all this, the hardest thing for me is to talk about it without saying things that make it sound like we're excusing the punch. There's no excuse. There's none. You don't do that, and it is a big deal, and it did fracture the locker room. And yes, all of these things, as they stand now, are Draymond's fault. Do I think that Jordan was a misbehaving teammate for a period of time? Absolutely. But I don't think that because Draymond feels that way. I kind of feel that way because Steph feels that way.
Well, there's more evidence.
Do you know what I mean?
There's more evidence than just Draymond was bothered by Jordan Poole.
Right.
I'll
Steve
give
Kerr
you that.
was clearly bothered by Jordan Poole.
Well, then there's a failure in leadership in the entire organization that this was not nipped in the bud in any way other than Draymond acting out the way he did. And if you watch the video, and I know you've seen it probably 500 times, and I've seen it as many times, if not 501.
Yeah, you've watched it more,
You don't see a shocked response among coaches or teammates.
Nope.
You don't see a rush to separate before the punch is thrown. You don't see much of an explosive reaction after the fact. It's almost like I had that scheduled for next Tuesday.
Exactly. It's a great way to put it. It's
like a collective shrug.
Yep. It's like, oh my gosh.
And again, it's not to excuse it, but exactly.
What's that scene in Goodfellas when Joe Pesci knocks off the guy who's talking too much at the bar?
Dance that drink over here, Spider.
It's not like anybody reacts like you normally would if murder just happened in front of you. Everyone sort of goes, oh, fuck, crying out loud. He finally, right? He's
close.
like, he finally did it. I can't believe he did. God, Joe, you shouldn't have done that.
Think I'm funny like a clown? Like a clown?
Hey, your joke's not bad.
It's a natural, Joe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not nasally Kyle Shanahan.
That's because I'm also short, round, and angry. Thank God Mark laughed over that, or there would have been a drop. I'm a fat red pumpkin. Well, there is that as well. But yes, Mark, I do think that there's some of that. Doesn't mean he deserved it, but yes, there was some of that. But why wasn't this handled differently? It's because of what Steiny said earlier, and I do agree with him to an extent. They are afraid of Draymond, and they have enabled Draymond at every turn and all of his behaviors. They never, other than the time that he called Kevin Durant the B word and they suspended him for a game, that's the only time that the team has rebuked Draymond's actions.
Do you want to know an opinion that I never had before that I do now? And I don't know if it was possible to do this, but knowing what we know now, they should have traded him at the deadline.
Last year?
Yep. It's not like you actually had a chance to win it all. You've now admitted you knew your locker room was fractured. And by February, you damn well knew it was not fixable. You knew it wasn't fixable. And you could have traded him before he went out and looked like a joke in the playoffs in front of everybody watching. You could have done it back when people actually thought, I ain't getting along now. Now, I don't know if there was a partner that would have come out of the clear blue. The timing probably was off. But in a perfect world, knowing what we know now, yeah, you should have traded him then. You should have traded him in February.
Interesting notion. And him having a player option, I don't know what team would have taken him on because he's basically a rental. So you trade Draymond to...
No. Jordan.
Oh, you should have traded Jordan at the deadline.
Jordan.
Oh.
Jordan.
Well, the problem with that...
You knew then.
But you couldn't get the value that you're getting now because he was on a deal for $4 million.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I thought you were talking about trading Draymond. You had me excited. I was starting to tingle.
No.
Guru style.
No.
You're talking about trading Poole.
Yeah, you're right. The finances would have had to match up.
I mean, yeah.
You had a $4 million player back.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I could have found a different 38-year-old. Probably would have worked.
That's pretty good.
Let's go to Bella in the city. Hi, Bella. What are you doing?
listening to all this madness. Okay, first of all, Draymond's Draymond. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. We wouldn't have won all those games, those championships without him.
We agree.
2, what did Poole say to him to make him want to lay a hand on him? Poole walked away like a little puppy, like a 23-year-old puppy. And that's all those men are puppies at that age. They're walking around sniffing and punching people. Okay, hello, Draymond. What did Poole say to Draymond? I haven't heard anybody talk about that.
Oh, we've talked about it ad nauseum, Bella. And quite frankly, what Draymond, if you listen to what he's even saying here on the pod, it's not about what he said in that moment or on that day. It's about a buildup. It's about things that Jordan was doing repeatedly. And if you've been listening to this show with any regularity over the last 6 months, you know that I firmly believe that Jordan was probably out of line a hell of a lot more than he was in line. But everything that you're adding up here does not lead to an excuse for everything that Draymond has done from that moment.
Well, it's like poking the bear. Let's see what comes out of this if I say this. And guess what? He's getting the reaction because you guys haven't stopped talking about it for the last week.
Oh, so
last week?
First of all, yeah, we have. And second of all, Bella, you're really going to tell us that we're the ones who brought this up? We spent the last 48 hours talking about Shohei Ohtani, and now Draymond Green and Jordan Poole's dad are fighting on Twitter. We didn't bring this up. They did.
Boys will be boys. How about the Giants?
Guess what we are?
Talk about the Giants.
Talk about it. Thanks, Bella.
Come on, Bella, yeah.
Thanks, Bella. Thanks for calling in about the Warriors and telling us to talk about the Giants.
7 in a row, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, look at my email last night. I was ready to talk about the Giants.
Are you more
And
mad?
now Anthony Poole is screaming at Draymond on Twitter.
Who has you more rankled? Draymond Green, Anthony Poole, or Anthony DeSclafani?
Oh, there's no question.
Get Disco out of here.
Get Disco off my team. I want you to put on your white dancing shoes and dance right out of town. Another $12 million guaranteed next year.
Good one, Farhan. That's your guy. It's your guy.
That's right. He is my guy.
One of the few. I mean, that's like the Tommy LaStella deal.
Well, Shasky said this morning on the air. I don't feel like I'm betraying any confidences because he said it on the air. He's in on Kapler. He's still iffy on Farhan. And we texted that to one another day, and I said, look, bottom line for me, I can hear all the things that bother people about Gabe and Farhan. Both of them, the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
By far. For every loss, there are 3 wins.
Agreed.
Yeah.
DeSclafani is it's a tough one.
That's an L.
Yeah.
That's an L.